What if the dark was never just darkness? What if, for our ancestors, night was the most dangerous thing in the world? Before electricity, before walls, before security lights, every shadow could hide a predator, every sound could mean death, and every night could become a test of survival. This is the strange story of why ancient humans feared the dark. For modern people, darkness is normal. We turn off the lights, we close the door, we go to sleep. We trust the walls around us. But that feeling of safety is new, very new. For most of human history, darkness was not peaceful. It was not romantic. It was not relaxing. It was not a time for scrolling on a phone or watching a screen. It was danger, real danger. Imagine living in a world with no electricity, no streetlights, no flashlights, no alarm systems, no glass windows, no lock strong enough to guarantee safety. When the sun went down, life changed completely. The world became harder to see, shapes disappeared, distance became uncertain, sounds became louder, and fear became stronger. This was the world of ancient humans. And in that world, the dark was not just empty space. It was a place full of possible threats. A rustle in the grass could be a snake. A broken branch could be a predator. A shadow near the camp could be another human. A strange sound in the forest could mean attack. Ancient humans had to survive without knowing what was around them, and that uncertainty made darkness terrifying. The human brain is built to notice danger. That helped our ancestors survive. If you heard a noise in the night and felt alert, that feeling could save your life. If you stayed awake when others slept, you might protect your family. If you feared what you could not see, that fear might keep you alive. So fear of darkness was not weakness, it was survival. Over time, humans became deeply wired to react to the night. Even today, many people feel uneasy in total darkness. A quiet room can feel strange. A dark street can make the heart beat faster. A sudden noise in the night can wake us instantly. That reaction did not appear by accident. It was inherited from a very old past. Ancient humans did not live in controlled environments. They lived in landscapes filled with real threats: lions, hyenas, wolves, snakes, unknown humans, cold air, hunger, isolation. At night, all of those threats felt closer. The dark erased visual control, and when you cannot see clearly, your imagination begins to fill the gaps. That is where fear grows. Not from what is visible, but from what is hidden. Ancient humans did not need ghosts to make night scary. Nature itself was enough. But darkness was not only fear, it was also mystery, and mystery can be just as powerful. The same night that frightened early humans also inspired stories, rituals, and imagination. People looked at the moon, they watched stars, they listened to the night sounds. They gathered around firelight and told each other stories about what lived beyond the edge of the camp. In that sense, darkness shaped the human mind. It forced people to think differently. It pushed them to build community. It made them stay together. It made them create fire. It made them seek shelter. It made them invent ways to feel safe. This is important. Fear of the dark was one of the reasons civilization developed. When people feared night, they built better camps. They protected entrances. They kept watch. They created sleeping patterns. They relied on fire as a shield. They formed groups instead of staying alone. Night pushed humans toward cooperation, and cooperation made survival easier. That means darkness did not just scare humans, it helped shape human society. Fire became one of the greatest answers to darkness. A fire could push back the night. It could reveal movement. It could warm the body. It could gather people together. It could make predators hesitate. In many early societies, fire was more than a tool. It was comfort. It was protection. It was power. When the sun disappeared, fire replaced it in a small way. Not fully, not perfectly, but enough to reduce fear. That is why ancient humans guarded fire carefully. It was life in the middle of darkness. Think about how different their nights were from ours. Today we can walk into a room and flip a switch. We can call for help. We can use a light. We can lock a door. We can check a camera. Ancient humans had none of that. If they heard movement in the dark, they had to decide instantly: run, hide, fight, or stay silent. That constant uncertainty shaped their nervous system, and the nervous system remembers. That is why humans still get startled easily in darkness, why unfamiliar sounds feel bigger at night, why children often fear the dark even before they know why. Some fears are learned, some are inherited, vivid, some are ancient. Fear of the dark belongs to the oldest layer. As humans evolved, this fear became part of culture too. Stories about night creatures, stories about spirits, stories about monsters, stories about things that came out after sunset. These stories were not always meant to deceive. Sometimes they were warnings. Do not wander alone. Do not go too far. Do not ignore the night. Do not leave the group. In that way, darkness became a teacher. It taught humans caution, it taught respect for the unknown, and it taught the value of light. When a fire burned in the night, it did more than illuminate. It gave the feeling that humans still had some control. It created a center. It turned chaos into a circle. It made the wild edges less threatening. The campfire was a boundary. Inside was safety. Outside was uncertainty. That boundary mattered deeply to ancient people. It was not just physical, it was psychological. In the light of fire, the world felt smaller, safer, and more understandable. Without it, the world became vast again, and vastness can feel frightening. This is why night watches mattered. This is why people slept in groups. This is why stories were told before sleep. This is why ancient communities remained close together after sunset. The dark separated people from the world they understood, and humans have always feared separation from what they can control. Another reason the dark was feared is that it changed the balance of power. During the day, humans could see predators before predators saw them. They could read movement. They could spot danger. They could plan. At night, that advantage weakened. Suddenly, humans were the ones at risk. Suddenly, they were easier to surprise. Suddenly, survival depended on sound, memory, and luck. That reversal was deeply unsettling. The dark made humans vulnerable, and vulnerability creates fear. Yet the same darkness also gave humans something else: time. Time for rest, time for reflection, time for dreams. Night was not only threat, it was also the place where the mind wandered. Ancient humans likely experienced the night with a mixture of fear and wonder. They feared what might come. They wondered what the stars meant. They listened to the world in a different way. They saw patterns in the moon. They imagined stories in the shadows. That mix of fear and imagination may have helped create religion, myth, and symbolic thinking. The dark forced humans to explain what they could not see. And when humans do not know, they often create meaning. That is a very human habit. So the fear of darkness is not just about being scared. It is about the unknown. The dark hides faces. It hides intentions. It hides movement. It hides danger. It hides truth. And when the truth is hidden, the mind starts working harder. Ancient humans could not afford to be careless about the night. A single mistake could cost a life. So they learned to respect darkness. They learned to fear it. They learned to prepare for it. They learned to use fire, group living, and vigilance to survive it. Over time, those habits became part of what it meant to be human. Even now, after thousands of years of progress, the dark still has power. A silent room can feel heavy. A forest at night can feel alive. A dark hallway can make us look over our shoulder. A noise in the dark can snap us to attention. That old survival system is still inside us. Ancient humans did not invent fear of the dark as an idea. They lived it every night. And because they lived it, we still feel it in our own bodies today. So why did ancient humans fear the dark? Because the dark hid danger. Because the dark removed control. Because the dark made them vulnerable. Because the dark amplified the unknown. Because the dark could bring death. But also because the dark shaped human imagination, ritual, and survival. It pushed people to gather. It pushed people to make fire. It pushed people to build culture. In the end, darkness was both enemy and teacher. It frightened humans. It shaped them. It helped make them what they are. And maybe that is the strangest truth of all. The dark was never just empty. It was the background against which human survival, fear, community, and imagination were born.